you're not going to sit here and say this that has nothing to do with slavery, which is what you just insinuated.
I'm going to say that it had nothing to do with slavery.
Okay,
and
that's not true.
That's just not true.
Give us the counterpoint.
That's not true. For this man to sit here and say it has nothing to do with slavery, what did you learn in school?
Well, I learned that it wasn't rooted in slavery.
Well, no,
because again, that is just factually inaccurate. That is the context in which I was responding.
To understand
That's also false.
the concerns
so let me get
and
a chance
interests
to get at that
of
one.
other
Get at that one.
states.
Well, you need to learn some history.
Other interests.
Go back and check on that diploma they gave you because that ain't working.
People do.
Anybody trying to pack up and leave and go to Pennsylvania just so you can hear a campaign ad? Well, you sound crazy. Nobody's going to do that. So we can go on.
If they don't feel represented in
Just said that. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely school. Your ignorance was revealed.
Now, one of the things that we know is, given the opportunity, MAGA, Republicans, especially this administration, if they have the opportunity to downplay America's racist past, its racist history, they're going to do it. And in this clip, we see Jason Rantz, aka Randall, try to do the exact same thing, and the absolute legend, Charles Blow, does not allow it. As usual, let's watch the clip in full. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts towards the end. And make sure you stick with me towards the end. You're going to want to hear my points. Let's get into it.
Tonight, Hillary Clinton is reigniting a debate over how America votes.
Well, I personally think the Electoral College is an abomination. For obvious reasons.
You'll remember in the 2016 election, Clinton surpassed Trump in the popular vote by nearly 3 million votes. But Trump did win the Electoral College and thus the White House. This is how the system works. Doesn't mean it can't be changed, but should it be?
Well, here's the thing. It's better if you make the argument when you didn't lose the election. You know what I'm saying? Is that
from a position of strength.
On the position of strength. It's like, listen, anybody who studied any small bit of history knows the Electoral College is rooted in slavery. That was the entire reason that it was invented, essentially. And we should have gotten from up under it a long time ago. And not just because you have two women quite capable who lose the election. So I don't have a problem with her argument. I think it's probably correct. And I think most people in this country, you want to, a big reason there's a lot of apathy is because a lot of people feel like their vote doesn't matter. And the reason they feel that way is because they look at things like, okay, let me get this straight. We can all agree and all, from a popular vote standpoint, vote for a candidate and that candidate still lose. And that the math doesn't math for them. So it's like, why are we clinging to the system?
If anybody should hate the Electoral College, it should be Hillary Clinton.
Yeah,
right?
I understand why she does.
She won the popular. No, she won the popular vote by 3.
Right.
No, but
this is not a new argument.
She's got the self-awareness. She's got the self-awareness to laugh at the fact that she hates it because she won the popular vote by 3 million and she lost the electoral vote. So I think I actually like that side of Hillary where she's self-deprecating and she's laughing at the circumstances. The bottom line is changing the Electoral College is something that we talk about all the time. It's archaic. It may not make no sense. It's rooted in slavery. All those things are true. But in practicality, getting rid of it, it's in the Constitution. It would require a constitutional amendment.
So to that
and that is an incredibly high bar. And in this political environment,
not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It also, just to be clear, I mean, it wasn't founded because of slavery. That's just factually inaccurate. The reasons behind it had a lot to do with the size of the country and the lack of technology to actually reach everyone at the time. That's why the Electoral College came out.
So it
to your point, I agree with you
that
because it's not a lie.
We're not going to let that lie stand.
It's not a lie.
It's not rooted.
It's not rooted in slavery.
Let's take the word rooted out. But you're not going to sit here and say this that has nothing to do with slavery, which is what you just insinuated.
I'm going to say that it had nothing to do with slavery.
Okay,
that's not true. That's just not true.
Give us the counterpoint.
That's not true. So the large states, the small states were already up in arms because if you had a straight vote, a popular vote, then they would always be drowned out. Some of the smaller states were in the South. Roughly a third of their populations were enslaved people. One of the compromises was to take one person for every representative you had that incorporates the 3/5 rule on slaves automatically, because the representatives were determined with the 3/5 rule incorporated. The moment that the Electoral College adopted one person for every representative, it incorporated by default the slave clause. For this man to sit here and say it has nothing to do with slavery, what did you learn in school?
Well, I learned that it wasn't rooted in slavery.
Well, no,
because
let's
again,
say it
that
had
is just
nothing to do with it.
factually inaccurate.
We took rooted off
That
the
is the
table.
context in
We
which
took
I
rooted
was
off the table.
responding.
No,
You're
no.
wrong. You're wrong. I'm not arguing that slavery doesn't play any role in
You
anything.
just said that. So
I
let's
said
say
that.
that. Thank you.
Context.
Thank you. Thank you.
In the context of what you said, it's just not true.
You just lied.
You got schooled on national TV. That's what you were
I
saying.
was schooled.
Jeff
You have
You
to
were absolutely schooled.
Let me play
Your
Jeff
ignorance was
Flake making
revealed.
the 2026 argument for the Electoral College. Listen to this.
I'm one who finds virtue in the Electoral College. And it's not just because I come from a smaller state, Arizona, that may benefit more than a larger state like California. It emphasizes our system of federalism. We are not a direct democracy, we're a representative democracy. The states have considerable power. The states run elections. That is a good thing to decentralize that kind of power.
So that's a case for it that is, even in this modern day, taking all of that into history into consideration. But I guess I just wonder, I mean, what's wrong with just one person, one vote applying at the presidential level?
There is a constitutional amendment on the table for the popular vote election of the presidency in 1968 after Nixon won. It was Republicans who were aggressively advocating for that. It was Democrats who killed that proposal because they were so persuaded by the counter argument that they read at the 11th hour, which basically said that this is a constitutional bulwark against majoritarianism. Every single safeguard in our constitutional framework prevents majoritarianism. Everything. Federalism. The fact that the Senate has 2 senators that are equal no matter what state you're in. The fact that the House is proportionate based on population. The fact that everything is divided between the federal government and the states. This is just an extension of that. And you know why the Electoral College really works? Is because it forces both political parties to try to court moderate voters in swing states. Of course, progressive candidates would rather just spend all their time on the campaign trail in California. They would rather not go to Pennsylvania. But it forces them to understand the concerns and interests of other states.
Well, you need to learn some history.
Other interests.
Go back and check on that diploma they gave you because that ain't working.
So hold on, Caroline, are you finished?
I was just going to say that there are so many interests, diverse interests across this country that vary by geographic region, industries as well. And it's a good thing.
The counterpoint to that is that all the energy is put into swing states and none into safe states because of the Electoral College. Because 48 of the 50 states have a winner-take-all Electoral College system, there is no reason to go into a state that you know that you're going to lose or that you know that you already have. So none of those people get campaigned to at all. They only get courted when they can go into get a big rally out of that particular place because all their people are there.
They can vote with their feet.
But here's the problem.
They can leave the state, which is what people do.
Everybody's trying to pack up and leave and go to Pennsylvania just so you can hear a campaign ad.
Yes.
What do you sound
Yes.
crazy? Nobody's going to do that. So we can go on.
If they don't feel represented in their state, they do.
Here's an interesting wrinkle. President Trump, or at the time just Citizen Trump, back in 2012 said the Electoral College is a disaster for democracy. And then Trump in 2016 says the Electoral College, this is after he won the Electoral College, the Electoral College is actually genius in that it brings all states, including smaller ones, into play. Campaigning is much different. His eyes were open. You know
who likes the Electoral College? When you win it that way.
That's
the people who don't like it is when they lose it that way. I get why Hillary Clinton is against
when they didn't win or lose.
But the last 2 people who won the presidency without winning the popular vote, though, have been both Republicans. And that's
I will tell you, I've lived in Florida for 46 years, and when I first got there, it was blue. Then it became purple, right? Florida, and now it's red. It was a hell of a lot of fun before when we were getting campaigned at, When people actually recorded our vote.
Now nobody cares.
Nobody cares. They just want our money.
Next for us, the president claimed.
So let me just give you guys some of my thoughts. First and foremost, as usual, I love Charles Blow. I genuinely believe this is someone who needs his own show. we need more people like him that are going to hold Republicans feet to the fire. Now, just a few points. I've never understood the Electoral College. Once again, this is where the confused part of the Just the Confused Brit comes in. Give me some education down in the comment section below. I will be pinning what makes the most sense to me so everyone can actually see that. But look, from what I've understood of the Electoral College, I just don't understand why, like what we do here in the UK, one person, one vote, it just makes the most sense. And to me, from a democracy standpoint, I think it's the best route to go. Now, the right love the Electoral College. That's something that I've always heard, seen, and known. And they love it for the exact reason as to why it was created, because it allows a minority to overrule the majority, and they just don't say the quiet part out loud about it. That's the beautiful thing for them. Now, when you actually take a look into the Electoral College, and I had to go and do some research for myself, the 3/5 compromise, it isn't a footnote. It's what we call the engine. And what that means is this: enslaved people who couldn't cast a single vote were counted to pad the South's power. And that padding went straight into electoral votes. Now, Jason Rantz wants to skip that chapter. But as you saw in the clip, Charles Blow didn't allow it. And that's the reason why I think someone like Charles Blow is always important to have on the panel. Now, the reality is this: when it comes to MAGA, this is their whole relationship with history. That's the reason why you see all the negative parts of America's history, MAGA are trying to dismantle. Now, they launder the ugly parts and they call it neutral design, and act personally wounded when someone calls it out and names it. Think about it. When Jemele Hill was saying what she was saying, go back and look at Jason Rantz's face. They feel uneasy, but they feel uneasy by what is fact, by what is history. That is MAGA, and this is how it is that they conduct themselves all the time. So it was really important to see Charles Blow call it out, but not just call it out, to not even allow them to even try and put it across as some kind of legitimacy. This is MAGA. This is their modern playbook. And any time that their racism is called out, you see what happens. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next one.